Well, welcome back to Gears and Glory, everyone. If you couldn't tell from that angelic national anthem, we're recapping the Hungarian Grand Prix. That was beautiful.
It was actually really, I would listen to that unironically.
Yeah, that would go in my classical music playlist.
Yeah,
if only it was on Spotify. To the government of Hungary, please put that on Spotify.
Fix yourself.
Just want to put it on playlist. That's all.
Yeah, please. Let me add it to my hype playlist. That can be my alarm. To be honest.
Well, it is a very chill by comparison, I think, with some of the stuff that we saw. I'm not feeling very chill right now. Fine.
Yeah, Charles had the worst race out of everyone. But let's start at the beginning of the weekend with FP1.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, I mean, the practice sessions themselves, I don't think were necessarily very different from one another. I didn't take too many notes because the top three were always both of the McLarens and then Charles Leclerc, which love. And in my head, I'm thinking, don't give me hope, because I will hope, and then this will happen. So I guess the notable points were that Fernando Alonso was out of FP1 because he was having muscular back issues. So Felipe, say again?
Huh? He's been having back issues for a while.
Yeah, well, he's 44. Sorry, hi, old. No, he's my favorite 18-year-old rookie ever. It's just tough to see, I don't know if I maybe think that about, Lewis Hamilton, too, of, is it age? Is it age just kind of catching up with you in a way you weren't expecting? But it is, because I know he's been complaining about the seat and, some porpoising or something coming up and, it affecting his back. So this season, it's already been a topic of conversation. So, hopefully it's not anything.
Hopefully it isn't retirement.
Yeah, your mum would not be happy.
No. My mum, she was convinced that this was his weekend. I accidentally got Aston Martin nails, so we've been convinced it was Aston Martin's weekend. And let me say, in F2 and F3, it was.
Yeah. Well, for FP1, Drugovich was in for Alonso, and then we also had Paul Aaron in at stake. And then he had to DNF FP1 because he was having a critical systems error or something come up. I don't know what it was. But that just kind of sucked.
That actually broke my heart. I didn't even watch the session, but it broke my heart. I saw all the videos on Instagram. Take the knife, stab me harder, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of a bummer.
But that was really it for FP1.
No. FP2 didn't really have anything crazy, I don't think.
I feel like the free practices aren't usually all that.
Well, sometimes people crash out. But so there was there's gravel. There's a new gravel trap. So but that was something that we saw all weekend, was that there was constantly gravel at turn 12. I think that's what the new gravel trap was. And it wasn't going to be a track limits thing. And people weren't necessarily losing time because of it. I remember them saying that during one of the practice sessions I was watching. So it was you're just going to have to deal with all of these stones and rocks. And then, we do have to deal with them because later on in the race, which I'll get a little bit ahead of myself here. But, Isaac Hadjar gets nailed on the hand by a piece of gravel going a million miles an hour. So, that's crazy. But outside of that, nothing really crazy happened in the practice sessions, any of them, really. I said, it was both of the McLarens and Charles Leclerc in the top three for all of them. And then finally in FP3, Lewis makes it to P4 by the end of the session. But, at the end of the day, it's still only practice. It's still not necessarily anything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And he proved that.
This is right in the quali. Yeah.
He proved it was worth nothing.
Yeah, kind of.
Sad, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we get into quali. And quali, I think that this has something to say about how close the field is is the qualifying sessions that we're seeing.
And you know what? This is literally what I was thinking about. I think it was literally this morning. What a season to be a rookie. Like, I've never thought about it before, but the transition between, like, regulations, what a season to be a rookie. Because if you have a shit season, it looks like you're having a really good one. Do you know what I mean? Because, like, everyone's kind of, like, the cars are, like, give or take, pretty the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll all see in a moment while I say that, but, like, these rookies, as my favourite rookies, so it makes me happy. Quali blew my mind because I wasn't really paying too much attention to it. And, like, Pierre Gasly, mate. Pierre Gasly.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I saw before I looked up at the end of Q3. I saw that, tuned out for the entirety of Q2, and then saw Q3.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so Q1 was crazy. Williams are still kind of having trouble returning to form since they've had all of their power unit issues, which is kind of a bummer if you're like low-key a Williams fan, which I am. So that was tough. And then, oh my God, Julian Palmer absolutely roasted Aston Martin. Not intentionally, but he was talking about them during Q1. He goes, oh, the pace of the car looks to be actually good this weekend. And like leaned into the actually, and I was like, damn. Like, he has a point, but damn.
Like, that's real lovely.
Yeah. He let his inside thoughts out.
Yeah, literally.
Exactly. And then I guess the like spiciest piece of Q1 in my opinion was that Yuki was knocked out by Liam.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah, because they're direct competitors in that they swapped seats.
Yeah, that's almost embarrassing. But, like, keeping in mind the, like, the Racing Bulls is, like, it is slightly better than the Red Bull. I think it's almost evened out as a season's gone on, but it is still slightly better. So, like, if that wasn't the case, that is embarrassing. But it's, like, bordering embarrassment. It's awkward.
It is awkward. Yeah.
I'd probably cry if I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have some interesting people towards like the top three though, because we have both Astons quite high. Isaac ended quite high in Q1. And yeah, it's good to see. Q1 is always interesting because the top of the team, like the top of the grid, they never really push in Q1. Like, and when I say the top of the grid, I really mean the McLarens. They don't push they don't push too hard because, you know. So Q1 is typically when we see the more interesting people up in P1, P2, P3 for, 15 minutes. It's cool.
Yeah.
I think we saw Albon
it's a little bit
for like, 15 minutes up in like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
No, it's always fun. That's when you want to like just take a photo and be like, yeah, they won.
Yeah, we should just call it here, guys. That's the weekend.
Pole position.
Cut the clock. We're here.
Stop the count.
Pack it up. Send it home.
I have to go. So, well, yeah. So Q1 is always what it is. Q2 is always where it starts to get a little dicey for some of the people that we would expect to go into Q3 and then might not actually make it. And what made it even more interesting is that I think everyone was expecting like a hot weekend, and it was like cold. It started to sprinkle in Q2. So everyone's dealing with the changes in temperature. Everyone's like, it better not get greasy because that would be super unfortunate for everybody who's like trying to make a good run. And it got really, really, just dicey is the only word I can think of. It got really dicey toward the end of like Lance. Well, first of all, for us Lance truthers, Lance was in P3 with 4 minutes to go of Q2. So like he was going through to Q3 most likely.
He had a good session.
Yeah. Yes.
He did.
Like,
weekend. Yes.
Oh my gosh!
So like Lance Stroll truthers, this was an iconic weekend. This was
a good weekend. Yeah, it was a good Aston weekend.
Yeah.
So I was very scared because the Ferraris were like nowhere toward the end of Q2, and I was like, "Hello,
Yeah.
Ferrari strategy, come on, don't do me like that."
You realize,
And
Ollie,
yeah,
like, go. Time's a ticking, mate.
yeah, for real. So unfortunately, Hamilton was again out in Q2. I don't know what's happening. I'm like kind of scared for Lewis, and it makes me really sad to see how sad he gets about it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't know whether, like, sorry, I cut you off, Brit. Go.
It's okay. I think I've got a lag, but my mum is a big, like, how your mum feels about Alonso is how mine feels about Hamilton. And so she sends me all the sad videos and she goes, oh, poor Lewis. And I go, oh, my heart.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, didn't he say, like, oh, I'm useless? Don't say that about yourself.
You shut your mouth.
I understand that was like heat of the moment anger, and like he probably didn't really mean it or really think it, and it was probably almost like a dig at other teams, like quickly drop a driver for performing bad. Yeah. But it was bad. It was like irony. It was just, don't say that. Yeah. And I mean, I made the mistake of going to Twitter. I think it must have been the next day, but I opened Twitter to a tweet from someone going, like, all capital letters, what is going on? Like, why is Lewis like down the back while his teammate is doing so well? And like literally going off at Ferrari. And I was like, okay, whatever. Open like the responses. The first one I see is, this is so controversial. I'm not stating where I stand on this, so nobody come for me. All I see is, it's because Hamilton's a good driver and he never has been a great one. He's always just had really strong cars.
That's crazy to say.
I was like, that's an opinionated comment to make on a public platform. And he got eaten alive for that. But like,
it is certainly something to have as part of the conversation.
Yeah.
That's definitely a point of discussion. I feel like that opinion comes when you didn't watch Lewis's seasons leading up to his WD.
Yeah.
Because his seasons at McLaren were insane.
Strong.
Yeah. And so, I mean, and I think it's tough to compare him to Charles, who's had so much time. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessarily fair to make judgments on some of the placements of people, but that's kind of what I like about the sport too, is it is so weekend to weekend of somebody can have a great weekend and they're on top of the world and they're going to be the next Max Verstappen, and then they have a bad weekend and they shouldn't even be in the sport and we should forget about them. We should pick them out and replace them with Franco Colapinto, probably. I don't know. But
Franco Colapinto to Ferrari real quick. Get out of here.
Get him
useless.
One bad. It's would be so interesting to see if I don't know if we got all of the data on it over time and performance, and if we were ever able to take the car out of it, and that's what makes the sport the sport and brings the team into it. But if we could put everyone in equal machinery, God, the money I would pay for that.
This is Lewis's time to beg for equal machinery now. Nico had his chance.
Been an F2 now.
Yeah. Also, I had to laugh. I'm actually about to say it would be really interesting to see Franco Colapinto in a Ferrari. I thought that's where that conversation was going, and I was like, oh.
No. No, I just feel because he's replacing everybody right now. But we can talk about that forever. Let's wrap up Q3 and we can talk about the race. Q3, the most notable thing was that both McLarens had done their hot laps, and I think they thought they were gonna keep it. And then Charles Leclerc put together the best lap of the weekend and stole pole position from both of them.
Yeah.
Accidentally, might I add. Yeah. His little whoop.
Yes.
What do you mean? Hello?
What do you mean? What do you mean? You're not trying to do that? That's your job.
Literally. Whoops. Mamma mia. The two.
Yeah. They were confused.
Whoops.
He was like, what happened? He was like, where on pole? Huh? I'm like, what?
It was check behind myself. What are you talking about?
Literally only Ferrari. No, not just Ferrari. Only Charles Leclerc could accidentally get pole position. That. I don't have words because what? Just
no,
what?
I know. Well, and here's when I started to get nervous. So I post my fast fact usually around Wednesday before the race start, like the race weekend. And for the Hungaroring, I put it in my facts, there's only a 50% P1 to P1 conversion from qualifying to the end of the race. So only 50% of the times that someone starts pole do they win. And I was like, but it's Charles Leclerc. And like I kind of had it in my head, especially once we start talking about the start. But also, do I think it's cursed? That P1?
Yes.
Probably.
That's actually insane. I'll put my hand up and admit I didn't read your fun facts very carefully this weekend because I missed that one. But here's Liv going with her feeder series hat on again. F2, F3, they start from pole, win from pole in Hungary. Like,
Really?
I mean, given both beach races were rolling starts this weekend, so it was a lot easier. Even in the sprint races, pole to win. So that's actually insane to think about. And I understand everyone's a longer race and like more strategic, but like, whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't want to jump in, but my turn. I read someone said that Hungary is just Monaco without the walls.
Yeah.
And then Charles heard that and he was like, "All right, bet."
Fumble.
Put in pole.
Ouch.
Oh, pole to fumble, yeah.
They have
like him.
something to curse his back.
Yeah. Jesus. He really did hear Monaco and said, "No, I'm not winning this one." Cool.
Oh, okay. We're moving on. I'm not talking about this anymore.
Anyway,
I got my Stash Trial shirt on. You guys were in full mourning. Okay, let's talk about the race. Let's just get it out of the way. Let's just talk about it. So okay, so it was Max's 200th race. Very exciting. Love Max Verstappen. Was it a good weekend for him? No, it was not. Sorry.
Really,
it was his 200th one, so he had that.
I just want to say, I actually forgot that Max existed until about 20 laps in when Crofty finally said his name, and I went, "Oh, yeah, where is Max?"
Oh yeah, about him.
Wait, did you hear he said to some Dutch media outlet maybe that he doesn't expect to win any more races this year? Ouch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Literally, what does that mean, Max? Why?
I think he just thinks the car sucks.
He's pulling a Lewis. He goes, "I'm useless. Get me a car."
Well, like, I don't know. I feel like we're at the halfway point in the season. McLaren are leading both championships by a lot. So Max is like,
the constructors is by far then.
What's the fucking point?
Well,
like,
both of them.
Maybe that's how he sees it. He's like, well, if I can't win the championship, like, it doesn't actually matter if I win races anymore. So, like,
yeah, I do think that a lot of them operate that way, though.
Yeah, I did hear a weird fact in the Sky Sports commentary. I don't even know who said it, but they were saying that mathematically McLaren can and probably will take the constructors' championship. Like, I can't remember exactly what race it was, but really soon. Like,
yeah, that one's been like a known quantity, though. I feel like
I'm not surprised at all. Like,
because who's it going to be?
Lost, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, because Mercedes has been fighting with Ferrari back and forth, but they are in the same situation as Red Bull, also, who is furthest behind, because they've all only got one driver who's really kind of carrying the team, right? It's George. No offense, Kimi Antonelli has been putting in great drives, but George is carrying that team, and he's not getting his attention for it. It makes me upset. And then Charles, and I'm sorry to Lewis, but Charles is carrying Ferrari. Lewis is struggling. That's the fact of the matter. You know, regardless of how anyone might feel about it, I kind of think it sucks, but like that's like I wish Lewis was doing better. And then Max, of course, has been carrying Liam and now Yuki in a car that sucks, that they built around Max, that is no longer suited to racing, really, to being competitive. So it's like none of these teams are ever going to catch up. It feels like mathematically we've not yet hit that point, but like emotionally, I hit that point a long time ago of like, that was McLaren's win.
Yeah.
To win, not even to lose. So I don't know. It was crazy.
I say let's just end the season now. Like, give McLaren their constructors, give Oscar his champion we'll just like do a 2-part season. Like the first half was like the 2025 part one, and the part 2 season. We'll just try it again, and we'll just have a new start fresh.
Yeah,
yeah, just to be safe. Yeah, just in case. Yeah, I don't know.
Like some new fun. And you know what? McLaren could have it that way then. Let Oscar win the first championship. Lando can have the second half. Champions. They don't think about it anymore.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh.
We did.
Oh, I hate it. I hate it here.
Yeah. But the start was oh my god, I was stressed. But
frightening.
But also Nico got a penalty for a false start.
Both of the stakes were being investigated.
Yeah, I think they thought it was Gabriel when it was.
Yeah, I think that they investigated Bortoleto because they thought it was him, but it was actually Nico because they investigated Gabby first, and then they were like, "Oh no, he's fine." And then I heard the commentators be like, "Oh, did they investigate the wrong stake?" And then
that's something crazy to get wrong for the record. Like they've got their numbers, they've got the like T-cam, like
the ground, like you know what I mean. They knew which box did it.
It's your job.
Yeah,
exactly. So wild. It was wild, but that race start.
And he got 5 seconds and served them during the race. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
That race was stressful. I was shaking in my boots.
No, the start was legitimately, there was so much movement.
Lando was freaking me out.
Yeah, like how did he just he was like P3 and then he was like P7 and then like in the middle again.
Yeah. Okay, no, that's crazy. So they start, right? And here's where I'm stressing because I've written in my facts, it's a 50%, oh my god, it's like a 50% chance that like Charles is going to lose it. And so I was like, okay, well, it's probably going to happen at the start, except for then it didn't, right? So he takes off. He manages to get ahead enough that he's outside of a second. Not that DRS is enabled yet, but he's outside of the second threshold to Oscar. Oscar's behind. And then Fernando Alonso and George Russell are like foaming at the mouth for one of these places further at the front. And I literally wrote swarmed because there were like 4 cars, but it felt like there were like 10 of them. The way that everybody was moving so quickly. Oh my god, it was scary.
Because why was there 17 Lando Norris, George Russells, and Fernando Alonso's? Because they were all of a sudden cars each.
Literally. Yeah. I can just imagine Charles looking in his mirrors and like seeing everything happen and him being like,
I'll pull up, you go past.
Just flooring it. Just absolutely flooring it. Yeah, every corner is now flat out, actually. So, but it was Alonso and George that both managed to like sneak when Lando got like off his top of his game or something. I don't really know, but he ended up then behind both of them in what was it, like 5th at one point? Yeah. And everyone was like, what happened?
Shocking start.
Well, he went for the inside line. Like he took off, like he launched, and I think that this, was a really weird move. Like we haven't seen that at Hungary before, but it just went straight down the inside. And Oscar was like, hang on.
Which isn't the best line.
Well, I don't know. Because that would have been maybe it goes on P2, P3, so maybe he was just following Charles.
Like maybe, because I know it's a right hand into a left hand, so you want, like, you wouldn't be able to swing around to grab the next apex, I feel like, if you are too close to the inside curve.
Yeah, they'd have to but
you'd lose too much speed, I think. I don't really know. What do I know? Nothing. So,
interesting. It just seems like
the start was scary.
And can I just add, Fernando Alonso is the only driver this season not to lose a place off the start in any race. And he did it again today. He was up yesterday. Not today.
Talk about it again? I want to talk about his mustache again. I like it.
I love everything about him, so...
I don't think I've really paid attention.
Sometimes it's like a jump scare and I forget about it. Love. But when I remember that it's there and I see it, I'm a fan. Sometimes it just startles me. Love it, though.
Yeah. Recognize it again.
Okay.
So you gotta,
All right. And we talked a little bit about some of the investigations that went on. So we talked about the false start, jump start investigations on both the Saubers, which was very funny, and how Nico Hülkenberg did get his 5-second penalty, did serve it during the race. And then Max was, again, being an absolute fiend to specifically Lewis Hamilton once more, where he just kind of like knocked him off the road. And then that was investigated after the race. I tried to follow up on it, but all of the articles were like, and yes, they're investigating this after the race. So I'm actually going to Google that right now, see if there was any decision on that.
I have an open link to the FIA documents. So
okay, cool.
I have it like saved in a favorites tab.
Because, it says he got cleared allegedly. But there was no nothing.
Yeah, a driver off a track.
Interesting. But that's interesting because then we'll talk about this later because I have a whole section that will be more specific to this. But interesting when similar penalty offenses happen, but they get different treatments.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then Yuki also had an investigation with Nico Hülkenberg as well. There was no further action. It was just a racing incident, so nothing came out of that. But there were a couple of instances where people were just like running each other off the road. Because I mean, I get it. It's like a narrow track. Although sometimes they're like, that's a narrow track. And I'm like, is it? But I also don't know anything. So.
Yeah, I think it doesn't look narrow because there were runoff areas. But if there were walls, it would probably look more narrow.
It would be a chute for sure. Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
I had to laugh. I have no idea what point of the race it was. I think it was earlier on. I don't know. I don't really have a good concept of time. But bloody Gabby Bortoleto up in like P6, God love him. He's literally fending off Max Verstappen behind him. Jake chasing down his manager.
Yeah.
Gorgeous little moment. Loved that. Had to include that.
Yeah. Well, So driver of the day, everybody, you know what? This one was correct. I think per our rules, this was a correct vote of Gabby winning driver of the day. I watched it after because I needed to catch up on some sleep. And it's funny because I'm wired to whenever it says like, oh, vote for driver of the day. I was like, oh my God, I need to vote. And I was like, no, this happened 2 hours ago. So I do think it was a correct vote and I would have voted for Gabby. A lot of people were voting for Charles at one point, which I was like, that's a pity vote. And we talked about this, you guys. We talked about the 3 votes.
You're all banned.
Have a bad weekend.
Anyone who voted for Charles is banned from Monza.
Charles crosses the finish line and he's like, yeah, you got driver of the day. If I heard that, I'd be like, you can fuck right off.
I'd be like, no, thank you, actually.
I don't want your
pity vote. I'm taking my car down like the exit. Driving that back to the hotel.
Into the gravel trap. I'm just going to beach it.
All the way back.
I'm just going to beach it and call myself an Uber.
Pull a Lance Stroll.
I'm just going to for real. Oh my God. Well, yeah. So actually, speaking of Charles, we were kind of getting toward the middle of the race, and Oscar was like 2-ish, 3-ish seconds behind. And I was in this moment where I was like, is he just waiting? Like, is Oscar just waiting? It was weird. Like, I know Oscar's a very patient when it comes to maneuvers. Like, he is with Max. Like, that's why I think Max's, like, dive bombs and, like, scary Mad Max moments don't get Oscar as much because Oscar is willing to just, like, wait it out and just, like, wait for his opportunity. But it was weird with Charles to see him almost waiting because I was like, I don't think the Ferrari was, like, that much faster than the McLaren. But they, like, attempted an undercut, which I thought was interesting. And then Ferrari covered it off. Ferrari strategy came through. Ferrari retained the net lead of the race. I'm so sorry. My mother is texting me. She said, my mom texted me this morning. She goes, Christian Horner got fired from Red Bull. I was like, you were with me when we found out the news together. So she just forgot about it for a little bit. She said, oh, yeah, that's right. I don't even know who that is anyway. I was like, okay, Mom.
I just know it's a big deal.
Bless.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I was like, yeah, that was like 2 races ago, my sweet mom. So anyways, sidebar. they did the undercut, didn't stick. Oh my god. Sorry. Let me turn my volume down. They did the undercut, it didn't work. Ferrari managed to make it stick. Oh, but then so Ferrari had the fastest pit stop of the season. I'm actually really upset about this because it was 2.0 seconds, right? 2 exactly. Yeah. And then McLaren took it with 1.9.
Boring.
Ooh, hiss.
Literally.
Tomato. Yeah.
You just imagine people throwing tomatoes from the pit lane, from above the pit lane.
Let's reinstate that. That needs to happen. Whoever is in these
check my bag at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, they're gonna be like, "Ma'am, why do you have so many tomatoes? Ma'am, you can't bring this many tomatoes into the pit lane. Ma'am, you're not authorized to be back here."
No, I have a job.
I have a job to do. I'm on a mission.
I'm sorry, my pass must be under all of these tomatoes. Anyways. Yeah. Anyways, speaking of pit stops, Fernando did a 1-stop. He didn't pit till lap 40. He really made the tires stick, which was a huge feat. The tires were really falling away. So he put in really good work to do that. And then a next little tidbit that's unfortunate is that Ollie had a DNF. He had damage to the rear. They never showed what happened.
I was going to say, I don't recall this happening.
No.
Yeah, well, he did. I said they said box to retire the car.
Yeah, so it was maybe like, I don't know what lap it was. Maybe like in the middle somewhere. But yeah. Ollie said like he was losing grip in the rear, and then engineer said, "Yeah, you've got damage." And then he said, "Oh, okay," or like great, or I don't know, something like sarcastic like that.
Oh yeah, and then he was like really upset about it.
Yeah, and then the next like time he was mentioned, he was in the garage, like out of the car, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
oh, okay." I looked on the time, a DNF, and the commentator said nothing about what happened. Like there was obviously no, I don't know whether maybe he like ran off or something. I don't know what happened to him.
Damage to the like floor, maybe. I don't really know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought I liked that because I was so confused how I missed that, and I saw it in the notes. I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I'm reading the like description of this video from the F1 website, and it just says, "Then picking up damage in the second stint." What damage? Please give me anything more specific than that.
Phantom damage. All the commentators spoke about was Crofty was really sad that Ollie didn't finish P11 for like the 5th race in a row because he was going to hold the new record, and he was really sad
because
about
everybody wants to finish P11.
He said, "What a record to have, and I hope Ollie doesn't let me down." And then he DNF'd.
Okay, that commentator's curse on that one.
Fucking hell.
Sorry. Rosberg, did he take a selfie with Ollie this weekend?
Yeah, he hasn't cursed anyone in a while. Can you please do that?
The last one was Horner, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
But then he went to the Red Bull garage.
He was like,
I think that was his last selfie. And it was a while ago, but
Wait, on my Apple Watch, I have an album, and all of the pictures of the background of my watch are funny pictures of the drivers and like etc. And one of them is Nico Rosberg taking a selfie by a no Nico Rosberg selfie sign. Love it.
10 out of 10.
Yeah. So okay. All right, hard left turn. I've called this section the curse of Charles Leclerc and the subsequent mental break.
Oh, yeah.
Where we have such a long radio message that they were like, does it even fit on the screen? At least on the F1 TV, they were like, whoa. He was upset.
They did it in 2 parts.
Yeah, no, it was crazy. So, okay. So it starts with the fact that Charles gets passed by Oscar, right? In the midst of the back markers. If the McLaren is going to get that close and you're surrounded by back markers and your tires are starting to fall away, I understand how that could happen. But then Charles starts to like tweak essentially in the car, and he's having these radio messages. And shout out to radio messages on Instagram because they transcribe them and like we'll post the clips of it. But Charles is on there saying things like, we're going to lose the race with these things. We're losing so much time. I can feel what we discussed before the race. We need to discuss those things before doing those. He was being super vague, but essentially just like to the engineers, just like yeah. He's pointing fingers in there they're pointed at the garage. And then the last bit where this is actually what made me really upset because we started so well. He says, "This is so incredibly frustrating. We've lost all competitiveness. You just have to listen to me. I would have found a different way of managing those issues. Now it's just undrivable. Undrivable. It's a miracle if we finished on the podium." And it would have been. And it would have, not been fourth. But yeah, and then so Oscar is having this moment, and then George shows up in the rear view. And Charles, and I think this is why, because I think we talked about it last week.
And so here's that.
My brain is just gone to that George Russell meme, sorry, Mommy says it's mine, better than Mercedes.
Yeah, no, actually. And I think we talked about this last week where we were saying, like, when Max and Charles drive competitively with each other and get their elbows out, they're both very polite with each other. And I don't think it's because they're polite. I think it's because both of them know the other will kill them.
Yeah.
And they're both boys.
You read my mind.
I think because from a very young age that Charles would just drive him off the track.
Yep.
And he's like,
it was just an incident to Charles.
That's not right.
And Max remembered that forever. So, and I think people forget that. Like people drive so respectfully around Charles, and he most of the time drives really respectfully around them. But today we saw why I think he's like such a competitive driver and has the edge that I think would make him a world champion in the right conditions and the right strategy at Ferrari garage specifically. But he was going crazy trying to keep George behind, like moving under braking, and George is like, he's moving under braking. He can't do that.
It was oh my god, such a narc. And the commentators were like, I think he's, he's been a bit rough with that. Like, that isn't moving under braking. For sure. And they were like, I think he just needs to relax a little bit.
You cannot convince me George Russell wasn't a hall monitor at school.
Yeah. If he was, what is it in Harry Potter? He'd be, I'm head boy. That's what he would be. And, don't get me wrong. We can sit around and roast George Russell. Do I think he deserved that spot? Yeah. Did he have a better car? Yeah. Did he drive well enough to get around Charles Leclerc absolutely losing his mind? Yeah. Do I also absolutely feel for Charles Leclerc to lose his mind in that situation? 100%. Do I think he was valid? Yes.
You see both sides and you understand both sides.
I'm a Libra. Yeah. What can I say?
It's very Libra of you.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So Charles goes insane and he gets a 5-second penalty, which sucked. But at that point, you know what? Screw it, right?
I can just imagine he's in his car. He gets told he's got a 5-second, and he's just going off without the radio on. He's just ripping them a new one. I wish that we had the radio on full time, because Lando also said in his post-race interview that he had no voice at the end of the race, and I can just imagine him screaming as Oscar is edging towards overtaking him. And he's the scream that Lando does, the seagull scream as Oscar gets closer. And I can just know that when Oscar did that locker, Lando cackled. I just know it.
God.
Yes.
No, it was crazy. It was legitimately crazy. So they were fighting. So speaking of, perfect segue, Oscar and Lando end up absolutely battling it out toward the end. And they were, until the very last lap, I was rooting so hard. I was sitting, I wake up on the weekends, I lay in bed and I get my laptop out and I watch the race, and I was like, I need to stand up. I can't do this anymore. I can't be horizontal while this is happening. So I got really stressed out. I was really rooting for Oscar to pull something magic out of his hat and figure it out.
Oh, me too.
And he was trying. The lockup is evidence that he was trying. He was trying. But regardless of the two of them McLaren did get their 200th win, which was awesome. Love that for them. Yeah. And
yeah. Okay. Wish it was the
so, we go through all of the post-race, traditional like post-race interviews and everything. And I didn't really pay too much attention to those because what I really want to talk about is the cool down room, where we cut to the cool down room, and I've been starting to call it grandpa time, where it's just Oscar sitting there alone by himself, just like drinking water. And he always goes like this. He puts his hands behind his head and then he sits and he watches like the old pictures go by. Yeah, just alone. And so they cut to the cool down room. They stop the commentary and it's just buzzing, the air conditioning going, wah.
It really makes the vibe.
Yeah, absolutely not. So, but we did get a really good line. And Liv, because you love George, I'll let you share this. Oh my god, they show the clip of Oscar's lockup. It was so good.
Oh, are you ready? This is going to be nice as form. Why didn't you just T-bone him?
It was the funniest. Yeah.
Would that not be hilarious?
No, 100%. 100%. And immediately, like, soon after, they cut back to the commentary, which, like, they just started talking. Why are you cutting back to the commentary and giving me, like, 12 seconds of Oscar just sitting there breathing? Yeah. But,
I want to know what I had to say.
Yeah, but then Alex Jakes goes, yeah, why didn't he just T-bone? It was just like, that's how they like go back to the commentary. It was so funny. I actually really enjoy it. And I know I say this all the time, but I love the F1 TV commentary. It is so funny to me. But
Alex didn't know did he?
Yeah. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was the podium, where I would like to have some words with the McLaren boys, either of them at this point, or both perhaps. Which is that they're not really good at sharing that moment with whoever else is on the podium. Because it's always like whatever. It's always going to be a McLaren winning at this point. That's fine. And so it's going to be P1, P2, P1, P3, whatever it is. But there's going to be probably 2 McLarens, which means there's going to be a McLaren engineer there as well. And then like the lone person out who's already not there, who's already not with their team. And then you can't even spray them with a little bit of champagne.
Yeah, it's poor. Yeah. It's poor sportsmanship, actually. Not having.
Yeah. I also have to note that Brit traumatized me this morning because I fell asleep just before the end of the race and hadn't woken up to rewatch it yet. And all I've seen on Brit's close friend story is just something to take off the edge with Charles Leclerc winner. And I was like, how the frick did he pull that off? And then I rewatched the race to find out he didn't. He didn't pull that off. Brit traumatized me.
Okay, well, you know what?
Get one of my reactions going.
Subconscious payback, because you never stay up to watch qualifying, right? And so I was scrolling through my stories in the morning of qualifying, like the morning after qualifying, and I hadn't watched it live, and I was like, I'm just gonna scroll through my stories really quick on like my other account that has no F1 on it, so that I just like get a little bit of phone time before I watch qualifying while I get ready. And I was scrolling through and I see your stories pop up. So I swiped past everything and I was like, I'm not looking at that. And then Liv came across and I was like, oh, this is going to be fine. And I tap into the first one and I'm looking at it and it automatically goes to the next one. And it's Charles holding the pole position thing. And I was like, I literally locked my phone and I was like, well, now I don't have to watch qualifying.
Yeah, the way I get around not looking at Instagram, I've gone to YouTube Shorts, I think. Mm-hmm. And now here's something. Don't sleep on YouTube Shorts. They are just interesting enough to get me tired when I'm going to bed, but not too interesting that I have to keep scrolling. And that's how I know I'm old.
My 4-year-old autistic son also loves YouTube Shorts because it's just his ADHD attention span. So are you sure it's the old age soap?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
I'm personally a Pinterest before bed operator.
That's fun.
Yeah.
I just like pictures. I don't know if you guys have seen that game. You gotta like fill in the squares.
I do a lot of it's like a Candy Crush knockoff.
Oh.
Yeah, it's actually kind of fun. I'll tell you guys about it after. I don't need to be airing out that on the podcast. But that takes us through to the end of the first half of the season, the end of Hungary, and now what? Summer break? What am I supposed to do for 3 weekends?
I literally can't wait for Monza.
Yeah.
We have one in
I mean,
between.
Ferrari's got to figure something out between now and then.
We have one in between first, don't we? Yeah, we have Singapore first. And then Monza.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around. Sweet, F1 Academy is back!
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, can't wait. Let's go, Chloe. Love it. Yeah.
Any summer break episode ideas, because otherwise we're just going to be tuning in, chatting shit. So let us know if maybe we can do a little,
we're gonna do
a little episode or something. A little explanation.
Yeah,
G&G.
absolutely.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Hope you have a lovely day and you survive this trauma that was the Hungary Grand Prix Part 2.
I once again, but maybe you will.
Yeah.
We're gonna need to sit on it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, we will catch you all next time.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye.